Hello everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to Kubernetes Sri Lanka. Today we have a very special guest who is Satyam. Actually, I met him my trip to KubeCon last month. So Satyam is a OSS developer at Deutron, and also he's a fellow CNCF ambassador from India. So, hi Satyam. How are you doing?
Hi, Chamod. First of all, thanks for inviting me. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm also doing great. So, before we start our topic of the 10 years of CNCF looking back and the looking forward, so I would like to get a brief introduction about yourself so we can start.
Hi, everyone. I am Satyam, and I work as a OSS developer at Teftron. And apart from that, I am also CNCF ambassador. Previously, I was a Google Summer of Code mentee at OpenSUSE, and I run a community here in New Delhi, backed by CNCF, that is Cloud Native Community Groups, New Delhi, of around 3,000 folks. Yep, that is it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this often is a huge community actually. Yeah. So today the session is aimed to the reflect of the CNCF milestone, which is recently they hit the 10 years from they are starting from 2015. The CNCF began in 2015. So, according to you, what key problem did the founders want to solve by creating the CNCF Foundation?
Yes. So in 2015, CNCF was started to advance the development of open source and cloud native applications and technologies, or to advance the container technologies. And with multiple companies coming in, like Twitter, Google, and all, helping CNCF scale the container technology. So it uh, seeked to improve the overall developer experience that paves the way for faster code reuse, improved machine efficiency, and reduced costs, and increasing the overall agility and maintainability of the applications. So the earlier it was like everything was a sort of monolithic architecture. CNCF came to uh, advance the, or to promote the microservices architecture, since applications are managing applications through microservices is much more easier than monolith. But there are some conditions. It is not always true that microservices are better, but in most of the cases microservices are better. So I think adoption of microservices has led to uh, very significant growth across the world in the digital uh, technology, or what, or you can say in the cloud native landscape. So even if, like there were sort of many applications that were monolithic and that were hard to debug, and that has no code, no use of the code. So to and that was not easily shareable. So if the code is not shareable, so the, the thing is that open source, making things open source is little difficult for everyone. So the thing is that with the advancement of reusable code and microservices architecture, open source has also become the de facto standard where CNCF puts a lot of effort in. So to summarize the question, I think, yep, the major aspect of CNCF was to advance the development of open source cloud native applications and services.
Yeah. Okay. So, like the monolithic application has some of the challenges, like you said, is when we change some small changes, we have to rebuild the application, which is gonna actually it's bit challenging to release that.
Yeah.
And so, as yeah, yeah. So, as a challenge, the CNCF faces in the early years, maybe 2015 to 2017, maybe. And how did the community help to overcome them?
Okay, so first thing first, like when CNCF came, there were no awareness about the foundation, and as CNCF was focused on open source cloud native applications, so there were lack of contributions as well, lack of tools as well that support the cloud native concepts, and apart from that, a lack of knowledge and you say lack of people in the community. So to overcome the lack of people, CNCF has this CNCF have multiple initiatives that CNCF sort of introduced and sorry that CNCF sort of introduced and overcame all these challenges. So talking about the contributions, CNCF was majorly focused on how we can get contributions in the CNCF landscape. So CNCF recognized this test. In the world, everyone has the potential to contribute to CNCF. So CNCF made the community inclusive, and apart from that, CNCF started incentivizing the contributions by incentivizing, providing the awards to them, providing scholarships uh, based on contributions to the community, sort of. And apart from the tooling thing, CNCF sort of uh, improved the adoption of cloud native technologies among organizations, and those organizations put in a lot of effort. So basically what happens is that when you are building something, okay, it takes a lot of effort of yours, but if someone has built that tool already and the organizations are using it, and the organizations are talking about it, how they are using it, so other organizations will have some sort of trust in it and they will start adopting it. For the adoption thing, CNCF promoted other organizations that are using it on a very major scale. They also uh, encouraged organizations to write about it. They host events to speak at the flagship event of CNCF, that is KubeCon, and there were also other events like regional events, Cube Day, Cube KCD, and some city-wise event or community groups that CNCF started. So with all this initiatives, CNCF sort of I'm really sorry. So with all this initiative, CNCF achieved overcame all the challenges that we're facing in terms of contributions, in terms of people, in terms of awareness, and in terms of knowledge. What CNCF did was CNCF started training and certifications programs, that like certifications like CK, CCAD, and later on they also introduced Cube Astronaut. Now in January, I think they have also introduced a Golden Cube Astronaut program. So,
Gold Korea.
CS, yeah. So CNCF has, in terms of knowledge or training, CNCF have provided all the folks in the community with a bunch of trainings and certifications so that people can gain knowledge about it. People can prove that they have uh, they are capable of doing things in cloud native and sort of that. Yep. This is how CNCF overcame the challenges, multiple challenges that arose in the early days.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, like CNCF started some scholarship. So if our audience would like to know, they have LFX mentorship. so that you can apply and get selected and get the training from them. If you are experienced engineer, you can apply for as a mentor. And one thing that Satyam mentioned that if they have built some tool that can be used by others. The fun fact is the recently I was looking for a way to actually the how to like how to manually control the traffic between when a blue green deployment happen. Then actually
And
when I
the
just,
blog.
yeah, yeah, that blog. Like when I just Google it, I found that the Argo team has done that using something called Argo rollouts. So it actually saved a lot of time of mine because I just need to set up the Argo rollouts and get my work done. So that's the community-driven CNCF benefit and the things that we are getting because it's make our life easier. So, moving forward, okay. So, I would like to know why did Kubernetes become so popular when it's compared to the Docker Swarm? So, because when I I listened to the Kubernetes 10th birthday bash, I think KLC and a lot of Kubernetes giant talk there. So they mentioned that earlier days, Docker Swarm was a thing before Kubernetes coming into the scene when they were developing the Kubernetes as a internal tool. So according to your thoughts, why Kubernetes became like a most famous container orchestrator rather than Docker Swarm?
Okay, so Kubernetes become most favorite container orchestrated tool because of multiple regions over Docker Swarm, like auto scaling and thing. Have you heard of that phrase that success come if you are successful? There are multiple factors contributing to it, not only like sort of you are doing all the things, but the factors are that you should be at the right place with the right people, and doing the right things. Okay, so the thing is that with Kubernetes everything was aligned. When the cloud native was uh, evolving, so Kubernetes came. I think CNCF started its first project from Kubernetes itself, and that too was Google, backed by Google. So the thing is that every organization wanted to scale of because of there was a revolution in, I think, 2016 about of the internet revolution, I think. So people were the 4G revolution that we say. So more and more people were started getting digital and all, and the e-commerce was booming, so every company was looking for something that is scalable. Okay, so in terms of so adoption of Kubernetes was obvious because Kubernetes provided the auto scalability and load balancing thing. But in same, but in the case of Docker Swarm, like if Kubernetes, so if Kubernetes is good for good for bigger projects, while Docker Swarm is good for smaller projects. So if you want to sort of build your own project, or you do not have multiple much audience, so Docker Swarm is good, but because it does not provide auto scaling capabilities. But Kubernetes, with respect to that, initial from the very initial days, Kubernetes Kubernetes provided auto scaling and the contributors. Okay, so Kubernetes promoted its contributors a lot, and adoption a lot. So by as I mentioned all earlier, that Kubernetes incentivized a lot in terms of contributions. People from different organizations coming to Kubernetes, and how they are building it, they used to share it on different events or podcasts and channels. So this way Kubernetes become the de facto standard, I think, for the cloud native and in terms of auto scaling in the last 10 years.
All right. So as you said, the CNCF started with the Kubernetes project thanks to
Yeah.
Google donating into the CNCF. After that, they actually got like a lot of CNCF project starting with Grafana and Istio and so many new projects. Now they have actually a lot of project if you go to the cloud native landscape. So, uh, so that's the expansion of CNCM project. According to you, so which CNCM project do you think is underappreciated but very important?
Oh, that's a nice question. Which CNC is it? It's open feature. Okay, so if I have to say which project is underappreciated, I think it's open feature. The capabilities that open feature provides brings into the ecosystem, like you have feature flagging thing. Although there are tools, but how open feature does it, and how much do we need it in today's scope? Because everything that we are developing does not need to be scale at every time. So we need something sort of feature flagging thing, that sort of turn off the feature when we do not require it, because it consumes the resources and there are a lot of factors. So I think open feature is the project that is undervalued, in my opinion. It could be anything from others' opinion, but this is like hardly my opinion that open feature is underrepresented.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, I haven't heard the open feature project before, so I will definitely gonna give a try.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so how did the CNCA build an inclusive community as it's grew globally, especially regions like in India?
So if we get back to initiative, like how did it grow? So if we get back to the initiative of CNCF, so there are like certain initiatives of CNCF that I speak of only in CNCF updates in my community group meetups. So those are projects, events, scholarships, mentorships, training, and diversity. So if you ask me from the perspective of like how community grows, so all these pillars are solid in terms of growing a community, or making a community inclusive. So what CNCF used to do is like it host events, and like events is the great way to network with people, and it also provides scholarship to the folks like who are underrepresented, diversity scholarship that we say in CNCF uh, group, and it provides mentorships. So if you sort of do not know how to contribute to CNCF or how to contribute to open source, you can get into mentorships programs that CNCF takes part in, like Google Summer of Code, Linux Foundation mentorship, and outreachy. And also there are some project specific mentorships like Kubernetes release team. They have their own shadow program and training. So everything sort of, I believe all these five factors that is very crucial in making community inclusive. So the thing is that you if you asked in India, so I believe that yeah, most of the folks in India who is contributing to the CNCF landscape should get some scholarship to sort of uh, feel inclusive, and even across the globe, like the countries which is certainly underrepresented. Yeah, so I think these are the factors that are making the community inclusive and helping it grow globally.
Yeah, that's really good. And recently, the Linux Foundation started the LF India, Linux Foundation India, so which is also the great achievement for the Indian folks there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I would like to know how, can you share a story that how the CNCF the CNCF community collaborate very effectively, because it's mostly depend on the community involvement on their project. So how they collaborate effectively?
Uh, it's a very nice question. Like, if organization has grown so big in last 10 years, so there were something that, like, that there were some sort of collaborations that went in very in a very good way or good manner, I think. So did you ask me about my experience? No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, you can
So
share from your experience.
I can say my experience. So
Yeah,
okay, I was in the Kubernetes release team. I think I am in the Kubernetes release team from the last four releases. So I joined a Kubernetes release team as a shadow. So there I learned that Kubernetes has this three release cycle every year. So the folks in the community, how they collaborate across different teams and focus on one particular goal, and even though they're not getting paid for it, all the folks are sort of motivated enough all the time, and they are so determined to make the release uh, streamlined. So I think all the folks in the CNCF community is the one thing that is have their determination and to make the community uh, what we can say, to make the community grow, and yeah, to increase, and talking about, if I have to talk about my release team, so they also sort of like, if you do well in the community, you will escalate the ladder. Like, I joined as a shadow, but I did really well during my when I was shadowing for the release notes, and the lead uh, who was she was there. She helped me encourage to a lot of things, and I was following things that she was saying. And as a token of appreciation, she has nominated me as a release notes lead, and then I served as a release notes lead for the Kubernetes version 1.32, the latest release of Kubernetes. And yep. So you can also sort of switch teams and see what's happening inside, and if you want to. But the only factor that is that uh, behind the collaboration is community collaboration, is your determination and the motivation to work for the community. Yeah.
yeah, which is great. Yeah, the contributing to the CNCA project, and especially the Kubernetes project, you can get a great experience while working together with engineers from even big tech companies. Even though they are working there, they in their free time they contribute to the project. So one fun fact from the CNCF collaboration is that recently they had election for the election, the CSF steering committee, and I
Yeah.
wanted to I want to vote for one of the candidate. When I go there, I didn't have their their expected dev stat co. Because of that, I cannot vote. I cannot vote. From that, I learned that I need to be a active contributor to vote. So, which is actually really great than the democracy in the country. Like even the our like use normal voting system in a country doesn't do that. We should be in a specific value to vote. Yeah, this is actually really nice thing. The standard they follow, I don't even have seen in a company. the IT company because they are very high. Yeah.
Yeah, and one
So
more thing is that uh,
uh,
apart from the standards, they are very inclusive. So if you do something wrong, so they are not gonna say like, hey, how did you do this? They're gonna correct you on the things, okay? So this is not the way how we do it, this is the way how we do it. They will teach you things.
mm,
So this is the best thing that I like about community. And you won't believe that I started my career into CNCF, I think 1.5 years only. Okay, so the
mhm.
things that I have achieved in 1.5 years, I think, is all because of the community, because of the people who supports me a lot, because of the people like who stands by me all the time. If I am doing something wrong, I have this in my heard that okay, if I might be doing something wrong, people will not be getting pissed off from me, they will sort of correcting me, and that helps me to do more mistakes, learn more, and even to like sort of pass to my fellow juniors who is now coming to the scape landscape.
Yeah, that's really great. Okay, so moving back to the our podcast next question. So, uh, how can yeah? What is the one thing people misunderstand about the cloud native technology?
Okay, so it's a very basic thing. Like, people misunderstand that cloud native is simply running your applications on cloud. Okay, but no, it's not like that. Like, being cloud native involves more than just running applications in the cloud. It includes a set of practices and architectural principles designed to fully leverage the advantage of cloud computing, not only hosting on the cloud. And this also this includes, like I mentioned earlier, microservices architecture, containerization, CI/CD practices, to enhance the scalability, resilience, agility, and application development and management. One thing is that, uh, like as the people started adopting digital things, so scalability was the major factor, and cloud native sort of provides those kind of architectures. Okay, in terms of projects or what are projects, I believe those are different architectures only. Okay, under the hood. So, and those architectures are doing different things. So the thing is that they sort of uh, involve a multiple architecture to scale and build a uh, resilient infrastructure. That is cloud native, and cloud hosting is simply like hosting your applications on the cloud. So this is the common misunderstanding between people about cloud native technology.
Yeah, gotcha. So, the next decade, actually, the looking forward with the cloud native, like, because the ML and AI is a hot topic on actually on these days. So, the how can a cloud native principle integrate with the technologies like AI and ML? How it's going to support the AI ML needs?
Okay, so AI and ML, talking about the AI and ML and cloud native principles. So the thing is that AI is something that I think accessible to everyone now. But how like you are typing something and it's sort of going. Let's take an example of a GPT, chat GPT. So how is it doing under the hood? You are putting in something prompt, and it goes back to the model, fetches the data, okay, and it brings to you. So but under the hood, there are certain cloud native principles associated with it, like again, There could be microservices. There could be a like different in terms of if we say Kubernetes, there could be different parts of different models running on the cloud. If there will not have been cloud, the AI ML thing is, I think, sort of next to impossible, because scaling comes with, I strongly believe that scaling comes with cloud technologies only. So with the increasing demand of AI and ML, uh, with the increasing demand of AI and ML, cloud native principles and cloud native technologies will be increasing. So this sort of will go parallelly. So cloud will increase, and AI/ML, that will help AI/ML increase. And again, there will be some innovation in cloud native, and there will be innovation in AI and ML. This sort of, I believe that this sort of will go parallelly every time.
All right. So, do you think Kubernetes will adapt the support for AI and ML, or the new tools will introduce and replace the current one?
uh, During my internship, I think during my Google Summer of Code thing, I learned this very hard way that no, the capabilities that Kubernetes is providing as of now, I don't see any other tool or I don't see Kubernetes not adapting the support for AI and ML, because Kubernetes is evolving at a very faster pace. Okay, so you have three release cycles a year. That is, and there are almost 80 to, I think, 30 35 features uh, in a release, around 90 features in a year. So I don't see it like it is not adapting. Kubernetes community is sort of very keen on making things happen and solving the problems. And the community is very big, and all the organizations investing in Kubernetes, because the problem is that most of the organizations will be adapting AI and ML, and they have already uh, set up their infra on Kubernetes. So the problem is that if they sort of if Kubernetes is not the de facto tool for the AI/ML workloads, then they will have to migrate on some certain tool that will cost them more. Organizations will be sort of investing in supporting the Kubernetes thing, so that they don't have sort of keep on migrating and migrating and migrating in the era of AI and ML. Yeah.
Yeah. So, according to my knowledge, Kubernetes have now support for the uh, like we can set up the GPU nodes for the Kubernetes cluster and set
Yeah.
labels, and we can like uh, set up our ports goes to those nodes for like if we have AI or ML related ports, we can spin up those ports on those nodes. So which is really great. So we can in the single Kubernetes cluster we can have the normal application and the ML application as well.
And I can
So
also see AI managing
uh,
Kubernetes in near future. Uh, it could be,
mhm, yeah.
and with the managed Kubernetes services by cloud providers, this. I
Mhm.
don't think this is very far from us.
Yeah, and another thing is like we can live feed our application logs and even the errors to the some of the maybe let's assume that there are some ML operators in the Kubernetes cluster, so which can identify the issues facing that application and automatically apply those changes to the infrastructure to take necessary actions. So which can also possible in future, I guess. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, so why is open source important for CNCF growth, and how can companies contribute more? Maybe share some insight from your contribution. Like since you have worked with the Kubernetes release team for few years, we have great idea about this.
Yeah. So, speaking about why open source is important for CNCF growth. So, okay. So, CNCF is open source is important because, see, as I mentioned earlier, that uh, building something of your own consumes your a lot of energy and a lot of time. So, if organizations sort of even you can look at this in your organization only, like if you sort of need some solution, what do you go for? You first go for the paid solution or for the open source solution, something that is open source. So the thing is that uh, if we keep things open, so it will be a lot easier for a lot of organizations to adopt it. So the more the organizations will be adopting it, the more like there will be uh, opinions around the project. The more the opinions, the more like improvements will be there on the projects. More improvement, I think better the improvement, better will be the project. So these are the sort of thing that open source contribute. And apart from that, open source in terms of contributions, like suppose you are a person, or you are company, you are using something from CNCF landscape and you need a feature very badly. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna make that feature. So you're gonna improve that project. So by improving that project, you're helping CNCF grow, which is in the CNCF landscape. So I think in terms of adoption and in terms of contributions, open source is very important, and that has also what we are seeing in the last 10 years for the CNCF growth. And how can companies contribute more? Like uh, if you're a company and suppose you are using Argo CD or you are using Kubernetes, and your work relies majorly on Kubernetes, and you see that some of the challenges that is around Kubernetes, and if you have time, the company should encourage their employees to contribute to this project, so that it should get better, because all the folks that are working there mostly are not getting paid for it. So we need to the companies should also need to cultivate a culture of like contributing to help encouraging their employees contributing to open source. So this way, I think not only the CNCF, we are going to make a world a better place, so that the countries which do not have sufficient resources, they can also use this open source tools and technologies, and they can also grow.
Yeah, that's true. Like the future of CNCF is rely on the contributors, and yeah. So what is your biggest hope for CNCF in the next 10 years?
My biggest hope for CNCF in the next 10 years that uh, uh, the CNCF is doing something extraordinary in the AI ML landscape. And I am assuming that there will be a lot more focus on AI and ML and platform engineering, because there two things that is sort of coming as a problem now. Not more of a problem, but more of a innovation, I will say, because with okay, so there were in the earlier days, there were four strong pillars of DevOps. So those were people, culture, tools, and if I'm not wrong, the technologies sort of thing. Okay, I am forgetting the fourth pillar, but I think it was the. But the thing is that earlier culture were more promoted because there were no tools. So that if the culture is promoted, people will come and create the tools. But now there are a lot of tools. Okay, So you sort of do not know if there are hundreds of tool available or tens of tool available for a particular thing. So you sort of get into confusion, like which tool should I use, okay, which one is better. So the concept of platform engineering should come into the picture, so that it's good to be opinionated now, I think, I believe so. But it's like depends upon the use cases, but it's good to be opinionated now. Okay, okay, I am using this tool and this solves my problem, that is it, okay, there's nothing harm in it. So this is the thing. And AIML, I think cloud native AI working group was also announced in KubeCon India. I think we were sitting together when this was announced. So uh, I see. I'm looking forward to more innovation in the AML and edge cases, especially. So if
Yeah.
you looking at the edge device, the IoT thing, I think the lighter version of Kubernetes like K3s and sort of thing emerging in the next 5 years, and we sort of more command on uh, IoT devices and edge cases devices, and banks are also adopting these technologies and all. So I think these are sort of things that I am looking forward.
Yeah, the uh, the most of the cases it will be mostly related to the AI and ML because the current it's a very hot topic. So um, so moving forward to our last question, uh, if you could solve one cloud native problem today, what it would be?
Okay, so one cloud native problem. Okay, I have been interacting with a lot of people, and I see that most of the people have not even modernized it. By modernizing, I mean that they have, so they need it, but they sort of have this have this thing in their mind that Kubernetes is so complex. Like, how do they migrate to it? Your cloud is so complex, although it is, but the option is that they have to sort of migrate on it and modernize their infrastructure so that they this this could survive in the industry. I can relate to a quote by Bill Gates that earlier in 2000s, that if you are not online, or if your business is not online, you are nowhere, okay, sort of. This was the quote. So yeah, I think modernizing is the one thing that organizations should adapt to, and we are trying to help people modernize things. Okay, so, by solving, we are trying to solve it, and you do not have to select tools or based on the things like, oh my, like there are tens of tools. Which should I which should what which one should I select? Okay, so we sort of are coming up with a platform, and where you just need that platform, okay, on the cloud, and that is all. You sort of not to worry about the tools and technologies working behind it. You just have to run your architecture and scale to millions, and that's what you say. Okay, this is the thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Modernizing.
actually yeah, like a real, it would be really great platform because currently like the biggest issue is like even though like we have multiple option in the CNCF landscape, like for an example, if we want to go with the CD tool, there are multiple options including uh, the Argo CD and Flux and Tectone. There are multiple options, so which is sometimes overwhelming for the someone who coming to the try those for a first time. Like they have no idea which one to choose and which one has the right fit for his need. So which challenging. All right. So yeah, Satyam. Uh,
Uh, yeah, yeah. So I think, do you have any more questions for me?
yeah, that's all I had to ask from you today. And thank you so much for joining. And think your insights are very valuable for the community as well. And thank you. Thanks for listening. And thanks for everyone. So see you in the next podcast.
Thank you, Chamod, for inviting me. Although, like, I am having a cough little, and I really apologize for like coughing in between while speaking. But thank you so much, Chamod, for understanding me, for understanding, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very honored to have to be on your podcast, and I'm looking forward to further more podcasts in the future that we can host, and that the information and more technical podcasts on specific tools and technologies, so that we can explore things, and we can sort of put in our experience using those tools and technologies and learning those. And one thing that we are trying to implement at I'll just close this by saying this. One thing that we are trying to implement at our organization is that we sort of, if we 4 or 5 people are sitting together, so we me and my colleague is what we are trying to achieve is that we say that, okay, we have to pick one tool from CNCF landscape, and you will read it. Okay, you have a whole day when you go back home. Just read it a little about it, and I will read a little about it, and we will come and discuss. Okay, so 15 to 20 minutes we discuss about that tool, like what is that tool doing, and how differently is that tool doing from other tools that are existing in the scape. With this, like, you can also incorporate these things in your organizations with your colleagues, so that you can share your knowledge, and you can uh, grow together, and see what other things are happening, because looking his perspective might be different from me looking at the tool, and my mine will be different. So we both sort of share things, and we see that most of the things that we think about, something is completely different. Even though we sit together, we talk, a thing is like that, we work together, but we sort of very different opinions on a single tool. So I think that this is a very great thing that we can incorporate in an organization, the collaborative learning thing. Yeah, this is it, Chamod, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very honored.